Previously on Eleceed.
I didn't expect him to come personally.
How about becoming a part of our family?
But that's impossible. My sis is going out with him.
That kid over there is by no means fit for someone like Miss Jiwoo.
Says who?
I'd like a chance to spar with Mr. Kayden's apprentice.
I accept.
We will now begin!
Now! At speed!
It's over! Jiwoo Seo wins!
Someone got inside the house.
What? Who?
Hey, little ones. How are you?
Mom?
Kaden and Karteen follow behind Jiwoo to the door. Kaden is shocked to see Jiwoo's mother at the door. Karteen asks them if it's his first time seeing her, and Kaden answers yes. He comments that although Jiwoo had told her she was a researcher at a foreign pharmaceutical company, he's never met her. Jiwoo's mother hugs her son as she comments on how much he's grown. She takes a moment to look at her son and asks Jiwoo if he has anything good going on recently. Confused, Jiwoo responds no and asks her why. She tells him that his face looks so bright and full of energy. Realizing what she means, Jiwoo takes that moment to explain to his mother that he is an awakened one, but she is not surprised. She reveals that she's known for a long time and that at the company where she works, she learned about the existence of awakened ones and realized that her son was also an awakened one. Jiwoo asks her why she didn't tell him. Jiwoo's mother tells him that she contemplated telling him the truth, but the awakened world that she knew of was too dangerous, and she wasn't sure if Jiwoo could survive in such a harsh and unforgiving environment. But most importantly, she didn't want to stir Jiwoo up knowing that he had just come to terms with his powers not too long ago. Understanding his mother's worries, Jiwoo reassures her that he is doing much better. He joyfully tells her that he now has a mentor who guides him through the awakened world and that he was able to make a lot of new friends. Surprised by the mention of friends, the mother and son's conversation is interrupted as Jiwoo's friends, Jisuk, Subin, and Woon barge through the door. Jiwoo introduces his mother to his friends and the trio are left shaken, surprised that Jiwoo has a mom. Jiwoo's mother's majestic smile leaves them in awe before they immediately begin bowing and showing their respects. Jiwoo's mother apologizes for coming empty-handed with no food, but Subin and Jisuk reassure her that they prefer takeout over homemade food. The four order takeout and eat together. While eating, Subin takes the opportunity to brag about Jiwoo to his mother, commenting how strong and popular he is at the academy. Watching Jiwoo enjoy himself with his friends brings joy to Jiwoo's mother's eyes as she can no longer see the lonely crying boy who was afraid of the world. The doorbell rings and Jisuk goes to see who it is. To his surprise, Jisuk announces to everyone that Kaden had just arrived. The kids are surprised at Kaden's attire since they have never seen him dressed up so neatly before. Kaden shows his respects and introduces himself to Jiwoo's mother. Karteen stares at Kaden with confusion, wondering how someone who constantly butts heads with the top 10 could behave so fidgetly. Back at the Shinwoo facility, Jiyoung gets a text from Jisuk notifying her that Jiwoo's mother is in town. With no time to waste, Jiyoung quickly makes herself presentable and goes to Jiwoo's house. Jiwoo opens the door with a smile, happy to see Jiyoung. He asks her what brings her to his home, and Jiyoung lies and says that she was just in the neighborhood as she hands him some fruit. Jiwoo brings Jiyoung inside and introduces her to his mother. Jiwoo doesn't hold back when introducing Jiyoung, mentioning that she's the chairwoman of an awakened organization and that she's helped him tremendously ever since he learned that he was an awakened one. After glazing Jiyoung, Jiwoo and his mother go on to cut the fruit that Jiyoung brought, leaving the room in an awkward silence. Jiyoung takes a seat and Subin asks her what she's doing at Jiwoo's place. Again, Jiyoung lies about being in the neighborhood, but Jisuk finds it a bit suspicious that she just happened to be in the neighborhood when he texted her about Jiwoo's mother. Embarrassed, Jiyoung whacks Jisuk, almost taking his head off. The group eats some fruit and enjoys themselves as they talk with Jiwoo's mother. Feeling left out, Kaden decides to leave. At last, Jiwoo's mother's reunion with her son ends, and it is time for her to leave. Although the reunion was short, Jiwoo's mother expressed her appreciation to everyone for taking care of Jiwoo. For so long, she watched her son be consumed with gloom and fear. But thanks to them, she is now able to see the Jiwoo she longed to see. Jiwoo offers to walk his mother to her car, but she declines his offer and tells him that he should rejoin his friends. Before departing, she tells Jiwoo that she knows about the dangers of the awakened world and that she knows that Jiwoo is determined to live in that world, regardless of the dangers. She tells him that she'll be rooting for him and that he has grown a lot. Back at the house, Kaden arrives with a smug look on his face, looking forward to introducing himself to Jiwoo's mother. However, Jiwoo's mother is already long gone, and the group looks at him with confusion. Embarrassed, Kaden immediately leaves the room. After saying goodbye to her son, Jiwoo's mother is surprised to hear someone call out to her. From the shadows, appears Amyoung calling her Dr. Yujong Kang, as he notes that he didn't know that she was Jiwoo's mother. Dr. Kang asks Amyoung how he knows Jiwoo, and Amyoung replies that they were involved in an incident that was his fault, but that they have since then resolved it. With a sigh of relief, Dr. Kang asks Amyoung how he's been, looking at the remaining scars on his body. Amyoung tells her not to feel guilty and that he's alive because of her. Amyoung asks her if she'll be returning to the job, and she replies yes. Leaving, Amyoung tells Dr. Kang not to worry about her relationship with Jiwoo and that he'll keep it a secret. The next day, Jiwoo continues his training as Kaden tells him to push his limit and move faster. Giving it his all, Jiwoo falls to the ground exhausted. Kaden tells him to stay still so that he can heal him. After healing him, Kaden tells Jiwoo that his core has fully recovered. Jiwoo thanks Kaden for all his help in his recovery. Noticing Jiwoo's sad face, Kaden asks him what's wrong. Jiwoo states that it'll be weird without Kaden because he'll be leaving since Jiwoo's all better now. Kaden scoffs at Jiwoo's response and asks him what did he expect. Once Kaden leaves the room, Kaden reminds Jiwoo that although Kaden doesn't say it, he's putting a lot on the line to heal Jiwoo, especially because whenever he heals, he leaves himself completely vulnerable. Kaden adds that despite that, Kaden has not only healed his core, but other injuries as well. Kaden stands outside stuck in thought. He hadn't planned on leaving, but after reacting the way that he has no choice. He's saddened that he wasn't able to conduct more research in his cat body, and he simply doesn't feel like leaving yet. As he tries to find a reasonable excuse for him to stay, Jiwoo joins him outside. Jiwoo asks Kaden if he could stay a little longer. It makes him sad to see Kaden leave, and he really enjoys his company. Hiding his real feelings, Kaden nonchalantly agrees to stay with Jiwoo. Jiwoo celebrates Kaden's agreement to stay, and as Kaden joins them, Kaden gives him a smug look, bragging about how fond Jiwoo is of him. In the basement, Kaden is seen using his force control, but he's having a hard time recovering. Kaden and Jiwoo join as Kaden mocks Kaden and asks him if he thought that he would be able to just bounce back from an injury that almost killed him. Jiwoo asks Kaden why he doesn't just heal Kaden since he's the best healer to ever exist. Although flattered, Kaden tells Jiwoo that it's not that simple. Since Kaden's power is so massive, the scope of the treatment would be tremendous, requiring an immense amount of Kaden's power. Kaden relays to Jiwoo that for strong awakeners like Kaden, it's much more effective for them to heal on their own. Kaden concludes that the recent slowdown of his recovery is mainly due to the degree of the injury he received, but also because of the residual power of the attacker colliding with his own. Curious, Jiwoo asks Kaden how he got such a deadly injury. Ever since he's met Kaden, from his actions and the amount of praise Kaden gets for being one of the strongest in the world, Jiwoo cannot understand how Kaden could have sustained such a near-death injury. Sighing, Kaden admits that it's time that he explains what happened. In the past, Kaden challenged and fought countless strong Awakeners. He fought to the point that there were no more Awakeners other than the top 10 who could rival his power. However, whenever he challenged them, they refused his challenge since it was a lose-lose situation for them. No matter how much he provoked them, they wouldn't take the bait. It wasn't until Kaden caught wind about 3 of the top 10 meeting for some reason. Not wanting to let this opportunity slip through his fingers, he went to the meeting spot, but it didn't go the way Kaden intended. The 3 top rankers jumped him and attacked him together. Faced with a nearly impossible challenge, Kaden attempted to take them on by himself, but it wasn't doable, so he ran. Kaden reminds Jiwoo never to forget that he is the apprentice of the man who fought 3 top 10s simultaneously. Although Jiwoo was impressed, Kaden just called Kaden a fool. On top of a building, top 50 ranker Baturi looks over Korea. In-hyuk informs Ji-young about the invasion of Baturi. Ji-young asks if they know what brought him to their country. In-hyuk responds that they do not know what brought him, but they suspect he's looking for Kaden since they've always been on bad terms. Baturi's scar aches as he swears to make Kaden pay for humiliating him. At the Baekdu Association, Baturi visits to ask Supil Kang about the whereabouts of Kaden. He demands that Supil bring him either Jiwoo or Kaden, or else he will completely destroy their organization. Later that evening, Suchin pays Jiwoo a visit. He notifies him that Baturi is in Korea and that he is threatening the Baekdu organization to bring Kaden or Jiwoo to him. Suchin knows that his uncle won't reveal the location of Jiwoo and Kaden due to their past and the trouble that his brother, the previous chairman, brought upon them. However, Suchin warns Jiwoo that he will if Jiwoo or Kaden doesn't go directly to Baturi. Although he knows the repercussions that could come with that, he's willing to do what it takes to protect Baekdu. After Suchin leaves, Jiwoo asks who Baturi is and why he wants Kaden. Kaden reveals to Jiwoo that Baturi is one of the Grandees, the world's top 50 awakened ones, and that he's come for a rematch against Kaden. After hearing about Kaden's recent injuries, Baturi wants to take this opportunity to exact his revenge on Kaden for humiliating him in their last battle. When asked what he's going to do, Kaden responds that he's going to take Baturi on. Although he's still recovering from his injury, and even though Baturi is a top 50 ranker, Kaden never turns down a challenge. Kaden also believes that this is an opportunity for him to show the rest of the world that he's still one of the strongest. Flashback to the past, Baturi remembers his humiliating loss against Kaden, swearing again to use Kaden's moment of weakness to kill him and get his revenge. Back at the house, Jiwoo worries about how Kaden is going to deal with Baturi. Kaden states that the only thing that Kaden can do is focus and gather as much power for the oncoming battle. Supil approaches Baturi nervously. He had asked the neighboring associations for help, but none of them got back to him with a definite answer. Although disappointed, Supil cannot blame them since Baekdu broke the trust between the associations first. Although outclassed, Supil won't go down without a fight. He tells Baturi that his request is ridiculous and that he won't be able to carry it out. Angered by his answer, Baturi prepares to wipe out Baekdu, but suddenly, Ji-young arrives and apologizes for her lateness, stating that she's there to stay true to their oath in the past. She adds that the other unions wanted to come and help also, but she decided to take it upon herself, as Korea's top ranker, to stand up to Baturi. Baturi mocks Ji-young and grows angrier as he asks her if she came to fight him. Ji-young responds that although fighting Baturi is not her intention, she will not allow him to go around threatening the Awakeners in her country. Ji-young creates an isolated space, piquing Baturi's curiosity as he asks who she is. Back at the academy, Chairman Han looks out of his office as he awaits Ji-young's victory. We see a flashback confirming that the other associations agreed to help Baekdu, but Ji-young insisted on doing it alone to send a message to the rest of the world. Back on the battlefield, Baturi shoots an energy blast at Ji-young, creating a huge explosion. He looks in disbelief as he watches Ji-young stand confidently without a single scratch on her. Supil offers to help Jiyoung, but again she declines his offer for help. Annoyed by her confidence, Baturi gathers his energy and throws a gigantic energy blast, effortlessly destroying an entire city block. He laughs, calling Jiyoung an imbecile, but his laughter is cut short when he sees Jiyoung still standing. Tired of being underestimated, Jiyoung tells Baturi to start taking her more seriously as she sends a wind blast towards him. Baturi blocks her attack, but is taken aback by her firepower, worried that he'll have to use his full power, even though he was trying to save his energy for his battle with Kaden. Now serious, Baturi summons a spear construct as he charges towards Jiyoung. Yet again, Jiyoung stops his attacks and retaliates with some wind slashes, forcing Baturi to retreat. Baturi regains his composure and blitzes towards her as he stabs her. But to his surprise, it was just her jacket. From above, Jiyoung launches a vortex down towards Baturi, destroying the building. From the rubble, Baturi remains standing but not without a few scratches and torn clothes. Although he hates to admit it, he concedes that Jiyoung could very well be one of the world's top 50. Looking up at Jiyoung, Baturi wonders how the small country of Korea could have someone as strong as her. His attitude switches as he commends Jiyoung for her strength and compliments her on her looks, telling her that she meets the qualifications to be his woman. But his attitude switches back again as he notices the disappearance of his favorite hat. He rushes her, prepared to kill her. Jiyoung remains on the defensive, dodging all of Baturi's attacks and using her wind attacks to push him back. Ready to end the fight, Baturi dares Jiyoung to try and take on his death blow as he gathers all his energy onto his spear. Jiyoung prepares her own attack, preparing a storm of wind blades. The two powerful Awakeners launch their attacks, causing a huge explosion. When the debris subsides, both Awakeners are seen still standing. Baturi lashes out at Jiyoung for why she's unranked, yelling at her that if she was to have her name in the top 50s, her organization could have gotten so much more authority. But Jiyoung tells him that that's not her priority and asks him if he wishes to continue their fight. Baturi thinks long and hard about Jiyoung's proposition. He'd already exhausted too much energy to go against Kaden, and dragging it on would make it worse. He decides to leave since he didn't come to fight Jiyoung. Jiyoung lets out a sigh of relief as Supil comes to check up on her. Supil thanks her for her help, and Jiyoung tells him not to worry about it and that she needed to do this. Elsewhere, Baturi dashes off to recover when suddenly
Eleceed.
Eleceed!
Damn it! I can't believe I have to return empty-handed after coming all this way to bring down Kaden. Ugh! Huh? Spatial isolation! Crap! This feeling! It's him!
Baturi, long time no see.
Kaden, break!
So I heard you were looking for me.
Next time on Eleceed.
Well then, let's cut to the chase, shall we? Who's coming?
The chairwoman of Mir.
Nice to meet you. You must be Jiwoo.
This is going to be troublesome. An invitation from the World Awakened Academy.
We're not going camping. It's totally different from going to our country's Awakened Academy. We're going into enemy territory.